Flavor Balance Heat, the podcast for hot sauce lovers and makers, is brought to you by Scoville.com. Try Scoville.com's hot sauce subscription box, where you pick the heat, flavor, and food pairings you want in your box. Get 1 or 3 bottles delivered to your door each month. Choose your heat level, flavor profile, and food pairings. And it's completely customizable each month. You no longer have to worry about getting sauces you don't like or won't use. Scoville.com specially curates each month's box based on your personal preferences. And best of all, High Desert Sauce Co., Butterfly Bakery of Vermont, and Irish Spike's unique hot sauces are all available at Scoville.com. Welcome to Flavor Balance Heat, the podcast for hot sauce lovers and makers. Welcome to part 2 of our conversation from last week.
Yeah.
So what's next for you?
For me, I'm going to keep podcasting. I'm going to keep doctoring. I'm going to eat more hot sauces.
Dabble in a little medicine, maybe.
Going to continue to be the same badass. Can I cuss on the show?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Motherfucker,
yeah.
I've always been, you know? So that's about it. The show is going okay. It's nice. We recently got into the Apple's top 10 science podcasts.
Oh, wow.
So
Nice.
He's very modest. His show's
thanks.
great.
I mean, it was nice. I mean, it's like I didn't think of myself as a science podcast, but I mean, I guess that's close enough. That makes sense. And it's nice because, like, you know, you're up there with like Neil deGrasse Tyson and these guys with these big, like, you know, systems behind them, and I'm just a small mom and pop, really just pop store, and so it's nice. It's fun. It's been fun. I've been able to meet people I really enjoy. I'm gonna keep doing that for a little bit longer, and we'll see where it goes. Hopefully, you know, I'm gonna take Neil deGrasse Tyson down from his number 1 or 2 spot.
There you go. That is what's next.
And you're a little too humble. I mean, back in the day, the doctor was the guy who shaved you, right? The red stripes on the barber pole, because they were also your surgeon. So
that's right,
you're a little more scientific than that guy, probably.
Little bit.
Marginal.
Yeah. I mean, I wash my hands a lot, so that's right away we're winning.
Right off the
And for
bat.
the record, so do we.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Like you're
Actually,
holding out. You never showed us your sauce today. Where's your chosen
Oh yeah,
meal?
yeah. That's right. We never. Yeah, you and I didn't.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Scott. Look at he's you're going to be the unofficial.
He's the captain now.
next
I'm
Thanks
the
for
person.
coming to Flavor Balance Heat with Scott from Lucky Dog Hot Sauce. My guests today are Spike and Claire and Kaveh Hoda, Dr. Kaveh Hoda, yeah.
Claire, did show yours?
I did not show mine.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
But okay. So what I brought is Luchito. Have you guys seen Gran Luchito? This brand?
Never heard of it.
No.
They're actually from the company so it's made in Mexico.
Okay.
But the guy who founded it is a British guy named Fergus.
Is there Marmite in there? I bet you there's a Marmite in there.
No. But it is, so this is their chipotle chili paste, and it is so utterly fantastic. They make a lot of products. They make like chips, and they make just enchilada sauce and just a whole bunch of Mexican stuff. And I feel like there's so many brands that are started by, like, you know, a white man went off to a foreign land and brought back the foods to the masses. Like, that's a thing. And I never would have guessed that that's what this is. Like, it is so fantastic. And like I said, it is in fact made in Mexico. So he didn't just, like, you know, whatever. But this, I add it to so many things. There's a Peruvian cilantro sauce that I make sometimes that it calls for, I think it calls for like sambal, which this is very much not sambal, but I put this in instead, and it is just like, so my local store stopped carrying it, and so we just had to go online and find it, and that's when we realized that because it's from the UK, it's actually not available in that many places in the United States. But we found it. I think we actually ended up getting it at Walmart, but like through a third party buyer, and we bought like 6 of them, and I go through this stuff so fast. It's so good.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that one.
Yeah.
This is a one I've had before, but we're going to have them on the podcast. The last time I had their sauce has been over a year, but they're one of my favorite sauces, and it's Binko's. This one's Cool Hand. It's a good, solid table hot sauce. You can use it for anything. And I really like the two that I've had of theirs, and I'm looking forward to having some more because they nailed it.
Yeah,
nice.
Right on.
Nice. Do you have questions for us?
Thank you.
No, I think you guys answered all my questions. I appreciate it. This is fun for me. Like I think this there's an artistry to it, so I appreciate that aspect. And there's obviously a science to it as well. So it's kind of fun to see where these meet when you guys are doing this, and it's a special kind of field too, because it's almost like there is a special class of person that wants to do this. It's not like you're just doing a pizza show because everyone loves pizza, or like a thing that everyone sort of connects with. This is one of those things where it's almost like you get it or you don't, it feels like. And it's kind of neat to hear people who are so knowledgeable about it talk and explain what it's like working behind the scenes on it. So that's fun. I like to, when I don't taste all the things you do. Like when I do a hot sauce, I'm not like, oh, I taste the rosemary and the hint of asbestos here, and it's fantastic. Like
that's something we don't add.
Right. Not yet.
So
just wait. Again,
wait.
It's going to be a weird couple years.
I told you my whole thing is I will put anything in a hot sauce, anything if there's a good reason for it.
I guess as a flame retardant, you say like makes it less hot, but a little asbestos. Well, and if you need asbestos, we have a lot of it here in Vermont. We have asbestos mines. In fact, there's so much asbestos in the air in some parts of Vermont that when they do asbestos removal and they test like has enough asbestos been removed from the room that they actually have to filter the incoming air.
Oh, wow.
Because the outside air actually has more asbestos than what's allowed.
Wow. That's terrible.
It actually is fine. Like, I know it sounds
at those
crazy.
Levels,
because,
I'm sure at those levels.
And it's also not, like, it's not the same asbestos.
Right. And it's not like, as to my knowledge, it's not like a hotbed for mesothelioma, So,
right, exactly. It's,
but yeah, so anyway, so it's very cool to hear a little bit of what goes into these things and to know that you guys actually, because sometimes you hear people talk about wine and I'm like, yeah, you're kind of full of shit. Like if I gave you 2 bottles of wine and I covered them both in a paper bag and I had you try both and I said this one is like 80 points and it's $1,000 and this one is $20 and it's like 50 points or whatever wine people say. And then like they would taste it and they describe it totally differently. And then I would reveal that's the same bottle in both bags. Like I don't feel like that's the case here. I feel like you guys are really like actually tasting these things and specifically have the intention of creating the hot sauces you do. I think that's pretty cool.
Well, and one note about the ingredients and the specialized stuff is that I talk a lot at the farmer's market. That's why I'm a little hoarse right now. I'm describing ingredients and pairings and kind of the stuff we all talk about with each other. We're all fans of each other's stuff, which is kind of geeky in its own right and fun. There's very little competition among the craft makers. We're all like dorks and we all love what each other does and we all love geeking out.
Yeah.
Then we like sharing and showing off to each other. But like say the deluxe that you showed, it's blackberry, black garlic, dragon fruit. It sounds super fancy, but when you boil down almost any recipe to its basics, you're looking at how it hits the palate and you're looking at a couple basic things, acidity and sweetness. And there's a presentation note and there's a finishing note and there's umami and there's, the sweet, savory, tangy umami, all those things. It's like the name of the show is Flavor, Balance, Heat, what we're on now. And I think that philosophy among the more artisan makers is something that really comes to the fore when you go to I'll be in Albuquerque next weekend for the National Fried Food and Barbecue Show, and I'm going to try 100 different sauces I've never tried before. I'm super geeked up about that. The first hour of the day for me is walking around and trying all the new stuff that I've never tried from makers I know and makers I've never seen before. And they've just, what I'm looking for isn't those specific fancy ingredients. It's that balance. It's that they all are balanced. And if I have to ask the maker, well, what do you do with this? You get an F-. That's a failing grade. Because if I taste something and don't know what I would put it on, it's heat for heat's sake. It's not a real sauce.
If you can't think of something, right.
So
I'm Claire George. I own Butterfly Bakery of Vermont. We make hot sauce, mustard, cookies, and granola, and 100% of our products are made with Vermont ingredients. The thing that I hear most often from people is that my hot sauce tastes like the peppers that are in it. We do really simple recipes that don't get too crazy and nitpicky, just to really accentuate the flavor of the peppers that are in there. The unique thing about our hot sauces is how much we feature the farm and the relationship with the farm and really bring the terroir of Vermont to our hot sauces. I am pretty sure I am the #1 purchaser of Vermont-grown chili peppers. I would love it if there would be a legitimate pepper market in Vermont where people would know Vermont for its peppers. We're all better for supporting each other. And I think that part really shows itself with the collaborations that I do with the other businesses and the other farms, that I love working together and coming up with new ideas and presenting each other with new challenges. And I think overall that's the attitude here. And I absolutely love it because that's my attitude. I try to live my life with love. The ingredients that I use, I would say that my values are reflected in that I use ingredients that, again, feel good, feel loving, feel supportive. The relationship with the farmer was how it all began. If I changed the reason for it being, if I went out and bought some commodity peppers, it might not be as good.
You can find Butterfly Bakery of Vermont hot sauce, mustard, granola, and cookies at butterflybakeryvt.com.
Well,
I think a lot of people do that, though. Just in sorry, I don't mean to jump in and throw
no,
you
please
off,
do.
but I ran into this recently and it kind of dawned on me that there are really kind of two different kinds of people when it comes to that. There are some people that they will ask me, so what do I put this on? Because they, in their head, have to know what it goes on so they can eat it.
Yes.
And then there's me.
No, because for me, I'm coming from outside of your world. I like it. I don't stick to it strictly, but I really like it when your label says, use this primarily for this. I'm all about that. If the hot sauce says everything on it, sometimes that's true. And sometimes it can be. But I like knowing, hey, this is something I could use. Again, going back to that bravado dish, the one that they made for Italian food, it really works for it because of that basil, whatever they got going on there. So I think I'm a simple person, so I need that sometimes.
I love it.
But that's different for you guys. I see what you're saying. If you walk in and you can't figure out what you're supposed to do with it, that's very different than
the other
me
one
not
that
being able
hits
to
me
figure
is,
it out.
they've put, all these delicate things in it, and then it's like Scorpion, Ghost, and Reaper. And it's well, why'd you waste all those delicate ingredients? I'm never going to taste it. So what?
Right.
You're listing it just to say it has that in it, and it doesn't have the effect. I'm not going to buy it because it's got those ingredients. I can't taste them. So it's got it for delicate stuff. I want a delicate sauce, kind of.
That's a lot. Yeah. Flavor Balance Heat, the podcast for hot sauce lovers and makers, is brought to you by Irish Spike's unique hot sauces and Vandal pepper sauces. I'm Spike, the owner and executive saucier. Our sauces are handmade in the Pacific Northwest using the best possible ingredient. We believe that hot sauce equates to a balance of sensational heat coupled with a robust and complex flavor profile. Live your hottest life with Irish Spikes. Irish Spike's unique hot sauces and Vandal pepper sauces are available at saucecoke.com. All right, so speed round. So I'm not sure how we're going to do this. I'm going to try it a little bit different. If that's okay with you, Claire, you all right with that?
Do whatever you want.
If I remember correctly, Scott, when you were on before, we did not have the speed round.
No, we did not.
And so we're going to
get my condom.
We're going to do a tag team speed round. And Kaveh, I don't know how this is going to fit for you because it's made for hot sauce makers.
Sure.
So
I'll just make stuff up.
Yeah,
exactly.
Make it so That's all we do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, really. Okay, you win the lottery. What's the first hot sauce related thing you buy?
Go ahead, Kaveh.
First hot sauce related thing I buy, it would be a fridge just for my hot sauces because I take up a lot of space in my fridge right now with my
You know,
hot sauces.
you don't need to win the lottery to buy a refrigerator. I'm just saying.
You know what, though, to be able to like make that excuse, I mean, I feel like that would be like an excess.
You might need a bigger kitchen, which means a bigger house. Which means that
right.
now we're lottery.
Right? Yeah.
$50 small Walmart fridge.
But honestly, you need like lighting so you can see all the bottles.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe one of the ones that's wider and a little shallower, so you can like really get the full effect.
And it has to have like colored lighting. The vibe has to change with like the time of the evening. Yes,
and maybe it needs to tell you when like what sauces are in there and when you're running low, so
nice.
That's more.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Yes.
All right. If you had to give, Scott, what's your answer?
I'm tempted to be really douchey and say something like, "Oh, I'd buy hot sauce for all the homeless children in the world." And
well, you should do it according to your business.
I would probably that would be a good time for me to build a kitchen and actually have that dream kitchen that I would love to have, but is impractical for a company of my size. So I use a co-packer, like why everybody goes to Claire. So I use a West Coast version of Claire, who happens to be a dude and not named Claire.
Tim's new nickname.
But yeah, that's
West Coast Claire.
Yeah. Tim is now West Coast Claire. So
how he'll feel
Tim
about
and
that.
Jay.
He needs to start making some caramel now. We'll see how that goes.
So I would love to have a kitchen. It's just not practical for me. So that's a good lottery-winning investment for me.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, if you had to give up the hot sauce business or the doctor business, but you could do anything else, what would you do? I think we already heard this, but go ahead.
I mean, I'd probably just stick to the podcasting because I already bought the equipment. So,
I thought you would have said music.
That's what I thought you were.
No, I mean, it's hard. I mean, with my current skill level, just not possible. I feel like it makes more. My brain could understand a little bit success with podcasting, whereas like to make it in the music industry is just like it's brutal. Like there are so many better bands than we ever were that we grew up with playing that never made it. And then there was the 0.0001% of those bands that did make it. And 10 years later, you know, seeing what they're up to, seeing how they're struggling to like, you know, make ends meet or what they're doing now. I'll tell you, it's just brutal and it's not fair. Musicians get, there's a lot that has to change in regards to how we treat our musicians and their royalties and how they should own what they've created. And it's pretty brutal to do it. And even the good ones, even the great ones, it's not fair when they make it and when they don't. And that's a bit frustrating. It's a bit frustrating for me, not even in that world anymore, just seeing what they have to go through. So I probably wouldn't wish that upon anybody, actually. I mean, unless music is the only thing you can do, the only thing you want to do, then I would say you shouldn't do it because it's hard. Yeah. It's hard out there.
It's funny you say that. There's a band called the Helicopters, Helicopters, Hella, and they have a song called "We're Not Gonna Make It." It's a good one.
Yeah.
And they sing "There's a million better bands, a million better songs, and we're not gonna make it." Yeah.
No, yeah, that's a Presidency of the United States. They did that originally.
POTUS, that's right.
Yeah.
So
it's true.
Scott, what would I do if I couldn't do hot sauce? I mean, I guess I'd just be a whore for the man again and go back and be a project manager somewhere, either in healthcare or in IT or one of the other walks of life. I used to whore away for corporate America and slave away for a paycheck and hate every minute of it and lock myself in my office and do flow charts because they're dorky and fun and then save the company money and get paid for it. So I'd probably just fall back on that. That was the plan if I didn't make it doing this. And there you go. You know, I'd start hot sauce and I won't light my resume on fire. Or maybe I'd try to be an internal medicine doctor. It can't be that hard. It can't.
Nah, you can. How hard can it be? I'll show you.
Take me under your wing.
Use only one sauce for the rest of your life. It's your Desert Island hot sauce. What is it?
It's gonna be. I'm sorry, Scott. I love you very much, but okay. I grew up eating this pepper plant, chunky garlic, and so my body, my DNA is about 50% pepper plant at this point. Yeah. So I think if I were to take that away from my body, it would collapse without it. So that's probably for me. But second would be Lucky Dog or the denogonizer.
Okay, Scott.
God, that's tough. I
love asking hot sauce people this because
there's
they just
so many good hot sauces out there. It's just impossible. You know it's impossible. I know it's impossible. I'll just my own El Perro Fortunato. I love picante sauces. It's a nice, savory, complex, tangy, balanced sauce. I eat eggs every day. I need that sauce on my eggs. So
That's a really good one.
I'll be a little selfish and just name one of my own.
It's a close second for me, so that makes sense.
Thank you.
I told you why, because I would want something that could go on everything, and I feel like it's more nuanced.
Very versatile, yeah.
But it is still like I'd say 85% of the food I'd put it on.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm out of it, by the way, Scott. Just saying. I'm out of it, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's too bad you didn't name my sauce as your desert island, or maybe
putting that out there. Talk about your sauce every week.
I am a sponsor of the podcast. I will get a package out to you
every week.
Maybe before I go to New Mexico, and I leave Tuesday, so there's a small window I could maybe get.
It's okay. I have like a lot left.
Oh, okay.
Other hot sauces.
It's just that one you're out.
That one. Yeah.
Oh, well, in that case, it can wait.
Yeah. I got plenty of hot sauces.
Let me know when you're ready for an order, and I'll include that one.
Sweet. Yeah. It's all worth it. This whole podcasting thing has been worth it for me.
All right. If you had a sandwich named after you, what would it be? What would be in it, and what type of heat would you use in it?
Oh God, good question. It would be turkey, probably something turkey related, avocado, Brussels sprouts, pepper jack. It would have to have a couple. It would have to have like a spread, like a garlicky spread on it. In terms of the heat, I would like maybe that garlicky spread could have like it could be its own garlicky spread with heat, or it could have like a separate jalapeno spread to it. So a little mild, somewhere between mild to medium, because I want just a little kick on the sandwich. I want to be able to share it with somebody, hopefully too, and it's not too spicy for them. What I would name it, I would just have to be my name. It just to be the Kaveh. I think
after you.
Yeah.
Scott.
I love so much deli food. I'm used to Jewish delis in New York, and it's hard to come up with one, but I'm going to go with turkey as well. I'm going to say turkey on a fresh baked sourdough bread. I would go Havarti cheese, and I would do like a cranberry habanero spread. I think that would be fabulous.
I know what I'm sending you next. We got a cranberry habanero hot sauce.
Oh shit, son! You didn't say. Yeah,
I would put sourdough bread. Thank you for reminding me.
Sure.
As a San Franciscan, I feel like I need to. But it's also good.
That's cool.
Yeah. No, it's a great idea.
Kaveh too. That'll be great.
Great idea. I wouldn't put cranberry. I don't understand the cranberry in the.
It's a Thanksgiving
I know everyone
thing.
loves it. I know.
You eat the leftover turkey sandwich with a cranberry sauce on it.
But I never liked that. That's the one part of Thanksgiving. That and the yams where they put like the marshmallows on top.
Disgusting.
Like,
no, I'm not.
I don't understand some of these things.
Hot sauce on top. Come on.
Thank you.
Do not ruin my yams. At best, you could just give me sweet potatoes, and I would put butter and salt on them, and that would be great. But candied yams are disgusting. Yeah. No, thank you, sir. But I think the key with the cranberry sauce is it needs to have the ridges. It needs to come out of the can and have the shape of the can. That's the good cranberry sauce. Yeah. I've tried too many versions of fresh cranberry that just paled next to the plastic.
Flavor Balance Heat is brought to you by High Desert Sauce Co. out of Tucson, Arizona. Zach is the owner and creative mind behind High Desert Sauce Co.'s hot sauces. He says, at High Desert Sauce Co. we make sauces that we love. The balance of bold heat and fresh flavor is the heart of our philosophy. We keep it simple by using the best ingredients we can get our hands on and letting the natural flavors run the show. High Desert Sauce Co. Just the good stuff. Visit High Desert at hdsauceco.com.
Yeah.
All right. If you could go back in time and change one thing about your business journey, what would it be?
Gosh, I don't know if I would.
I like that.
You're living the dream.
Well, not necessarily because of that, but because like I do feel like I'm not one of these people that says that like everything happens for a reason. But I will say that I've been able to learn from most of the things, and so I feel like I've learned from a lot of the mistakes I made. If I had to push myself and give an answer, the one thing I would say is, as a young doctor, I felt a strong sense of righteous indignation when I saw something I didn't like or saw someone behaving in a way I didn't like. And and although I feel like that's actually probably a good thing for doctors to have, when you work in certain hospital environments, there's a lot of politics you have to play with. And I probably could have avoided a lot of conflict if I was just like turned the other cheek on certain things, or like didn't care quite as much, or like just let it slide. So I would probably tell myself to let some of the small things slide and not fight every battle, to pick and choose the battles.
That's a really good one.
Even if they're the right battle, you just can't fight every single one.
Yeah. Scott?
I have a much easier one. In 2012, my first year in business, I had a little stand at the Hayward Farmers Market, and I had a customer who came through regularly, like once a week on Saturdays, and he would buy 2-3 bottles every week. And about 6 months into this, he emphatically recommended that I buy Bitcoin, which had just dropped. And he said, you know what you should do? You should take $5,000 and just buy as much Bitcoin as you can buy. And back then, this is 2012, if you do a little Bitcoin calculator, you'll see that's worth right around $175 million right now. So I could have taken that $5,000. I had the money. And I thought to myself, no, all my money is tied up and I need it to make hot sauce. And I could have $175 million. I never would have met you nice folks if that had happened. I'd be on my own island somewhere being famous.
I wouldn't be getting your hot sauce.
With a
therefore,
cocktail with an umbrella or two in it. That would be me now. But that's the easiest. Go back to first year me and tell me what to do. The answer is buy that fucking Bitcoin. That was not at all ambiguous. Yeah.
There we go. So we're going to change this up. You can either go with a podcaster or another doctor, okay? And Scott, you have to stick to another hot sauce owner.
Yeah.
So here we go. If you had to fight another hot sauce company owner or podcaster / doctor, who would it be and would you win?
Oh man, that's a good question. Okay, I'm not going to say Joe Rogan, even though he deserves it, because he'd probably beat my ass. No. I'm bigger than him, but I don't. I think he does know how to fight. So I would probably go for Dr. Oz or Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil's not a real doctor. Dr. Oz was a real doctor, and I'm pretty sure I could take them. So I pick one of those guys.
See that, please.
Yeah.
One of those, including. Well, I wouldn't want to see the Joe Rogan one because that would be messy.
Yeah. He'd probably beat me. Or maybe Huberman. I mean, Andrew Huberman. Maybe him. He's a very popular podcaster who gets. He toes the line a little bit more between like straight like grift and like actual like science. He's a little bit different. But he'd be on my list too. I'd work my way up the chain.
I like it. Scott?
I'd fight K. John Hardy, 71. I know I can take him. He's had some surgeries. He's had some cancer. He's good now, but yeah, I could probably kick his ass.
I got to tell you, I don't know if I'd rule him out.
I don't want to fight K. John. I'm gonna give him a big hug when I see him next weekend. I love K. John. I would never fight him.
He's the best. He's the best.
He's an intimidating figure in the industry.
Yeah.
He's the godfather of hot sauce, and he's always had great suggestions, advice, compliments for me since my first year. Everybody gets imposter syndrome. Hot sauce makers are probably some of the most guilty of it. And you show up to a big fiery food festival with all the biggest players, and here's the godfather of hot sauce coming over and trying your stuff and saying you got something good going here. That goes a long way to your confidence.
Yeah.
Although one year I came up with that mustard chipotle and he tried it, and here I'm Mr. Gourmet, right? And he tries it and says, that'd be great on a dog. And he meant it as like a super high compliment. Like he would put that on his hot dog. And I thought, a hot dog? Like, I'm thinking a pastrami sandwich or something fancy or barbecue. No. He said a hot dog, and a little piece of me was offended. But I got over it real quick. He was very sincere about it. And it was, So, yeah. I would never fight any of them. I will fight Dr. Oz with Kaveh.
Sweet. Thanks,
you know what?
You hold it down.
I still think that all of us would lose if we went against Joe Rogan, but I'm willing to try.
Yeah,
I'd go down with you guys.
I'm okay with that too. Yeah.
I mean, a glass bottle will go really far.
Yeah. I mean, the amount of harm that person has allowed to be done on his show is it's indescribable and immeasurable, I think.
That's correct.
Both
I agree.
Politically, medically, you name it. He's just
so along those lines, and and hot sauce at the intersection of all of these. I used to make a hot sauce for Dr. Mercola.
Oh, okay. Joseph Mercola. Interesting. Like,
what's the background on Joe Mercola?
And so my mom is my mom loves herself some wellness grifters. She loved Dr. Mercola when I was growing up. And I even as a kid, I was like, this doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
And when they approached me about making a sauce, my feeling was, well, I don't like them, but what they're asking for is pretty simple. And like, I can just, anybody else could do it, and I could take the money and donate it to people who fight against misinformation or something. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I went ahead and did it. It was the most absurd process I have ever been through with co-packing. For example, they insisted that the sauce had have like a metal count, like lab test, which fine, whatever you want. But then they also wanted a plate count, a microbial plate count, and like, okay, sure. And so I sent it off, and it came back with a plate count of 100, which means one colony. There's one colony. And that's where I was really new into all the hot sauce making. That's where I learned that when you hot fill hold process doesn't kill everything in the hot sauce. If you want to kill everything, you've got to do the pressure canning and all of that. So it doesn't kill absolutely everything, but it kills everything that matters. Yep. That's what it does. And my lab was like, 100, that's super low, and that's great. And Mercola's people were like, no, that's awful, we can't do that. So I did all the research into it, and I was like, this is absolutely absurd. Like, a cucumber has a plate count of like 10,000. Right. Yeah. Like, no, this is absolutely absurd. And so I came back with that, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do it if you're going to make this requirement. And so they thought about it, and they came back, and they're like, okay, 100,000. That's our cutoff requirement. They went from 0 to 100,000 because they didn't know what the fuck they were talking about.
You know what I will say, though? As ridiculous as that is, it almost makes me respect him more. And I mean, to start with, it's pretty low. And I'll tell you, because at least it means that they really believe it. Like, I sometimes with these guys, people selling dietary supplements and these unproven medical devices and stuff like that, it's like, I assume most of them are in on the grift. They know what's going on. They're smart enough to know it's like all bullshit. Like, so the fact that like he or his people at least had some like criteria that they thought was important, whether it was wrong or not, that actually does surprise me a little bit.
Well, and then COVID came around, and I learned that like, it's not just selling shitty mattresses and putting weird labels on hot sauces. And I was just like, yeah, fuck that. And I basically decided to let it string out as long as I could, so that I basically just caused some pain to somebody who, basically is responsible for the deaths of probably hundreds of thousands of people.
A lot of misinformation.
And number one misinformation creator around COVID. And
he was number one in that Dirty Dozen, huh? Wow. I didn't actually know he was number one.
Yeah,
I knew he was on the list, but I didn't know he was
absolutely number one. And so I waited for them to place an order, and then I also just waited then longer, and then finally they called me multiple times, and then I accidentally answered the phone once, and then I think, or maybe somebody else answered the phone. Maybe this was back, it was my company line. And so we arranged a phone call, and 5 people from them were on the phone call. So clearly they knew that something was happening.
Right.
And I said, no, I'm not going to make it anymore. Or I think I told them I wasn't going to make it, and they rearranged another call. And they said, can we ask you why? And I was like, well, okay, yeah, because of the whole COVID thing. And they were like, thank you. We just needed to hear that. You're not the only one. Thank you.
Yeah,
and we were actually really
good for you.
Yeah. So, I mean, and this is actually a separate company that's not Mercola's, but that's what they do. They do Mercola's products.
Right.
So,
I remember you told me that story in Berkeley.
Yeah. But I just am like, wow, evil motherfucker.
Yeah. That's pretty wild. Wow, that's
Can
I
ask one medical related question, Kaveh?
Sure.
So there's a lot of
penicillin.
There's sort of Reddit is a thing, and there's a lot of people on Reddit, and a lot of people have opinions. It's an opinion-based world. And there's a lot of talk about, the big It's like there's either home hobby sauce makers or there are corporate conglomerates trying to keep the man down. And there's kind of a big chasm there of reality. But if you look into some of the Reddit forums, you'll see there's some animosity between hobbyists and professionals. And some of it is because the hobbyists want to shortcut and sell a sauce without a professional co-packer or without making it in a commercial kitchen under a cannery license or under whatever licensure you need in your state. Can you tell us for a minute your experience with and knowledge of botulism, for example? Like, what does botulism do to somebody, and what are the real dangers of making a sauce improperly?
That is a great question. I'm so glad you asked that.
Well, I mean, the good thing about botulism is, we don't see it much here because currently we have guidelines on how to avoid that. So for now, on how to avoid that. So botulism is one of these things that's particularly concerning for younger kids. It is a foodborne illness, but it can affect anyone. It's caused by this bacteria that's called Clostridium botulinum. And it's a toxin, and it attacks the body's nerves. So the thing that you're really concerned about when someone gets, botulin, gets a toxin or exposure to this, is difficulty breathing, because the diaphragm that helps your lungs move gets paralyzed, and that's really scary. As you might imagine, you need to be put on a breathing machine to be kept alive. Sometimes muscle paralysis in general can happen, and if it's not treated properly, death. So it's a foodborne problem generally, and that's caused by food that's not properly canned or properly fermented, and it can also happen in wounds. But it's there's other symptoms that are a little bit less severe, like facial weakness and eye drooping, that sort of stuff. That's not as scary, but the chance of the scary stuff happening is real enough that you should absolutely avoid it at any cost. And it's one of these things where if we don't have people having strict regulations on how we can our foods, we're going to run into it again. And it's every now and then it does pop up. Like you'll see like a case of it. Like a couple years back, there was like a gas station that had like a nacho machine, like one of those, like they pull down the lever and the nacho cheese comes out, and it's in there for God knows how long, and you don't know how often it's been cleaned, and that gave people botulism. So how many people died from that? I don't remember. I don't know if anyone did, but so it's still something we do see rarely, thankfully. And
there is treatment for it now, but my understanding is that the point at which muscle paralysis has set in is not reversible. So it can be halted, but it can't be reversed.
It's a good question. I can't say I know for sure, because it's been, again, since medical school that I've really had to like address it. And you are right. There is an antitoxin that you can give. And if there is the breathing machine, and that's high risk, you can still survive it. The rates of it, I can't say for sure. I don't know how well you could survive it, but that's when it's really scary. I mean, if you're on a breathing machine, that is really scary. And that means there's high mortality at that point. So how high, I don't know. But yeah, you are right. And that is very concerning if you don't get the antitoxin in time.
Yeah, let's not kill people.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, it seems like a small ask.
Yeah.
I actually want to ask the very last question of you guys, though, because I'm just curious, and it's my favorite question. If Pepto-Bismol asked you to make a hot sauce actually using Pepto, and I'm still holding out for Pepto to hit us up to make a hot sauce for them, what flavors would you put in it, and what heat would you use?
I'm not going to put any heat in it, because then my patients are going to call me and complain more. So no heat goes into the Pepto, but Pepto can turn your stool black.
Yeah, it can.
And it's a good thing to know. If you see it, you don't freak out too much about it. So it'd have to be like blackberry or something like that. It'd have to be
Soup is very
That's how I would do it.
Oh, that's the
I
best answer yet.
I appreciate having more concern about how it's going to exit rather than how it's going to enter.
I would politely decline.
Well, I also say don't
to make
heat.
a
Don't give it the heat. That's what I would say.
Because
So,
for one,
for both reasons.
people are usually taking it because they're dealing with distress in their stomach, and I find that spicy things would probably exacerbate that issue as opposed
smart.
to help it. And also, I've always my entire life found the flavor of Pepto-Bismol to be just absolutely repulsive, and there's no way I could conceive of a sauce with that as an ingredient. I would reject the overture politely. I know there'd be a lot of money involved, but it would not be more for Spike to do, not in my wheelhouse.
That's yeah. So I have to say, if there's a reason to use any ingredient,
Right.
so I think of
Right.
extracts.
That's fair.
Just go for it, and it's the cycle of life.
Never say never,
Down,
But thank you
build it back
for
up.
hosting us.
That's my whole take on it. All right, that's it, guys. We're all done.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'll speak for Scott. Thanks for having us.
This was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
This was a lot of fun.
absolutely.
You guys are great. That was super fun.
This has been a Spike Mind Media production.